Welcome back. I wanted to give you a little bit of background on just my journey in real estate. Hopefully, it will help you a little bit, regardless if you've been in the industry for 5, 10, 20 years, or just starting in the real estate industry. When I first got into real estate, honestly, it made no sense. I came from the legal industry. I'd been a paralegal for 8 years and was actually headed to law school. Then, for some reason, I'm not really sure why, I decided to jump into real estate. Previously, I was studying for the LSAT and just something inspired me. I didn't know anybody in the real estate industry, but I just decided for some reason to jump into the real estate world. My family actually thought I was absolutely throwing away my life. Seriously. And here's the truth. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I was used to a W-2 income. I worked hard. I got paid well. And I really didn't understand that I was getting into the sales industry. That's how green I was when I actually got into the real estate industry. I thought it would be basically houses and contracts, not cold calling, not hustling for clients. I was single. I had my own car. I owned my own house. I had a ton of bills. And I thought I was pretty stable. But 6 months in, working seriously insane hours every single day, pouring everything I had into the real estate industry. And again, I wasn't good at it. I was not good at sales. It was terrifying to wonder if a check would ever come in. I did not get my first check for 6 months. Again, keep in mind that was 20 years ago. And I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, I was working harder than I had ever worked in my entire life and seeing nothing in return. And it was really, really scary. I had a bunch of bills that were coming up, and thank goodness for a second mortgage on my house that I really didn't even understand at that time. I was able to pull a second mortgage on my home and be able to stay in the industry. Again, I had no guidance in the first 6 months in the industry. Eventually, the checks did come in. My hard work started to pay off. And once they started to come in, they kept coming in with some ups and downs, but overall, I was making a pretty good income for, almost a decade. I was making a couple $100,000 a year. And yes, for some people, that's a great living, but deep down, I knew I was capable of so much more. And of course, in the real estate industry, you always see people with their big GCI, their big gross income that actually is not really their net income. But you see these numbers and you're like, gosh, I mean, there's something inspiring about it because you're like, if he can do it, I can do it. Or if she can do it, I can do it. And so deep down, I knew that, $250,000 a year, I just knew I was capable of so much more than that. I knew this business had more to give. I knew I had more to give, and I was not willing to just settle for good. From my very first year, I invested in coaching. Probably 6 months in, that's when I really hired a coach and started to follow their lead and just get guidance. My mindset was, and still is, if I can shave years off the struggle and shortcut the learning curve, I mean, why wouldn't I do that? And I'll give credit. If I hadn't hired those coaches, like who knows where I'd really be today? Because every single coach that I did hire got me to another place, another level. So super grateful for that. Although it really wasn't the journey that I probably would have gone back and done things differently for sure. But we don't know what we don't know, right? So, but here's the problem. Every coach I hired taught me how to make money, but none taught me how to build a business. I had no systems, no predictability. Every day felt like I was starting from zero. And if you have ever felt like that, you know how exhausting it is. You are probably an agent either on a roller coaster ride of income or not hitting the income that you want, or maybe you are an agent that is making a lot of money or a good amount of money. Of course, you probably want to level up still, but your life is chaos. So I've been in all of those areas. Coaching was always about how many contacts did you make? How many listing appointments did you set? How many appointments did you set? Thousands of times I have heard that. And yes, I believe it's a numbers game. I believe contacts matter. I believe appointments matter. At the same time, like that cannot be your only strategy. And this was my biggest fight for years this is seriously my business plan? More contacts, more appointments? You can definitely make money that way, but let's be honest, that can't be the only way. That can't be the only strategy to actually building a true business. So after 10 years, I hit a crossroads. I was making money, but not saving it. I was burning myself out and knew if I didn't make a change, I'd either have to leave real estate overall or figure out how to finally make it into a real business that worked for me. That was actually efficient, that had systems, that had predictability. So that's what I did. I went looking for people who had already had the systems, the freedom, and the lifestyle I wanted. I had made the mistake before of hiring the wrong coaches. I didn't want a coach that just made a lot of money, but threw away his health or her health to earn it, or threw away their marriage, or wasn't a good mom, or wasn't a good dad in order to get it. I needed to follow those who actually earned the money I wanted to earn and still had the freedom of time and a life of joy. I'm a huge believer in only follow those who have actually done it and actually have done it the way that you want to do it. So that's who I sought out. That's who I found. And that's who I followed. And I implemented and I tested and I failed and I refined. So over the years, I built my own systems. I even created more freedom of time than my previous coaches. I knew deep down that I could make a ton of money and still be a great mom, a great wife, have hobbies, and be an actual smart business owner. And I'm going to tell you, everything shifted for me. I built a business that was predictable. It was referral based, no more cold calling, no chasing. My income jumped 3 to 4 times what I was making before. My net income was higher and I was working fewer hours and netting more money. I started saving. I actually got a hold of my finances because in real estate, let's be real, very few people actually sell their business. Yes, you can make a lot of money in real estate, although not a lot of people do consistently, but you can if you do it the right way. And if you are not saving money, investing money along the way, I mean, you're putting in the time anyway. You're building a business that most people are not going to be able to sell. It's a relationship-based business. So I really got a hold of my finances, created a lot of wealth, and I started, of course, saving that money. I stopped filing tax extensions. I started investing. For the first time, I wasn't just making money. I was building wealth. And for over a decade, I've been in the top 1% of earners in the US. But more importantly, I've had freedom. I've had vacations, time with family. I didn't have to sacrifice my Sundays, my kids' baseball, soccer games, or marriage. And that's what I want to tell you. Everyone says you have to sacrifice to succeed in real estate. Yes, there are some sacrifices, but it doesn't have to be a sacrifice of being a good mom or a good dad or making it to the games. The sacrifice can be manageable. You don't have to grind yourself into the ground, miss family time, and accept burnout as part of the deal. But that's simply, it's just not true. You don't have to do that. I am proof. Just because most people aren't doing it, it doesn't mean that it's not possible. So if you are tired of just hustle being your only business strategy, if you are tired of being overwhelmed, if you are tired of riding the roller coaster of inconsistent income, now is the time. Hit subscribe. And if you are serious, you really want to make changes in your business, you want to scale and grow the right way, book a call with me personally to see if you might be a good fit for my program.